Good morning, everyone. Shvua Tov. We are now up to Mitzvah Nuntes, Mitzvah 59 in the Chavetz Chaim. Mitzvah Sleisah Shulamashke. I'm sorry, 60. We did yesterday, last week. Mitzvah Sleisah Shulamashke. All right, let's get it right now. Nunches 58. Mitzvah Sleisah Shulamashke Kalim Sha'isi B'Moichel Nefesh. Prohibition against taking as security any kind of article that is used for food preparation. Shenemar, as it says, Lo yachvo rechayim v'rochev, one shall not take as a pledge, as a security, rechayim v'rochev, the lower or upper millstone. Rechayim is the lower, v'rochev is the upper. Because by doing so, you are taking his soul as a pledge. What a person needs for basic food preparation, we would consider you taking that article as a pledge, as security, as taking his life. This applies, bein shehil v'alamashkin, whether when they first made the loan, it was done with security, meaning he immediately took security on the loan, bein shemishkanoi achar halva, or whether he took the security after the loan was made. B'yadoi ap ayapi bezdin, whether he did it on his own or even through a basis, somehow or another, the court allowed this to go through. You have transgressed his prohibition. Now, you've taken this mashkin, you took this security, you took this millstone, you have transgressed. But really, as long as you can give it back, it's possible for you to rectify the sin. But if, let's say, what happens to the security is it gets lost or it gets destroyed, now there's nothing you can do about it anymore. There's nothing you can rectify. It's irrevocable. You've transgressed. You have no way of returning this article you took as security. That's it. You have transgressed this prohibition. Done. Until now, you could have rectified it. Now it's done. Now you're liable just for the lower millstone itself or for the upper millstone itself. You need both of them to be able to do what you want to do with the millstone. But whether you only take half of it, you take either the bottom one or the top one, at the end of the day, you are transgressing. Basically, you're not making it possible for him to be able to prepare his food. So even though, these are two parts of one thing, but you'll be liable for each part. And just as the case of the lower and upper millstone are distinctive, that they are two articles that they are used for one goal, for one purpose. Nonetheless, you're still going to be liable for either one of them. So that is a distinctive characteristic of this millstone. The Torah used the example of not taking an article of food preparation, the upper and lower millstones. And the fact that the Torah is using this as an example is because of the fact that as a distinctive characteristic that it's two things, two parts that serve one purpose. And if you just take one or the other, you're going to be liable. So too, any situation where you have two articles that actually serve together for one purpose, you will be liable for each one separately. This applies in all places, at all times, both by men and by women. Next mitzvah. A positive commandment not to forcefully take security from a person who owes you money. Now, let's see what this means. Shenemar, as the pasuk says, you shall not enter his house to take his pledge. Meaning, you made up to take a pledge. So you want to walk into his house and take it. Just walk it against his will and take it. You're not allowed to do that. Rather, he is only to take a pledge through Beis Din. Meaning, I'll take back what I just said before. I'm not sure if the case here is you made up to take a pledge. The person borrowed money from you, You want to walk into his house and take security. You're not allowed to do that. You have to do it through Beis Din, through rabbinical court. Now, even the emissary, the agent of Beis Din that now comes to enforce this, to take the pledge, take the security, but you did not. Even the agent of Beis Din does not walk into the person's house to take the pledge. Ella oimed bachutz. You got to stand outside. Shnamar bachutz tamid. As pasuk says, you stand outside. It is the borrower who enters his house, and then brings out the collateral, the pledge. Shnamar, as it says, the man that you are demanding from, he shall bring the pledge, the article of collateral, outside. Okay, so the starting point is that you want to take security from a person to make sure you get your payment for the loan. You can't just walk into his house and take it. You got to go through Beis Din. Even Beis Din, the agent of Beis Din is not going to be able just to walk into his house. He has to wait outside, and the borrower will now then bring it out. Now, some exceptions. Arev, a co-signer, a guarantor, meaning Reuven lent money to Shimon, and Levi was the guarantor on the loan, which means if Shimon doesn't pay, then Reuven goes to Levi. But Arev, now, here the case is, the co-signer had to pay. That means the borrower now owes him the money, and he wants to go take collateral. He can forcefully go in and take collateral, take the pledge. He can walk into his house and take the security. As it says, a pasuk in Mishlei, Kach bigdai, take his garment, he arav zar, for he has given security for a stranger. Let's say somebody owes you wages. He owes you some kind of wages, whether it be payment for work, or let's say he owes you money for using your animal, your tools, renting your house. So he owes you money. You have the right of payment from him. I'm going to use not a debt yet. He basically owes you. He basically is obligated to pay you for either your work or for renting your objects. Here too, you could actually take the collateral, not through. You don't need to go through Beis Din to do it. You can walk into his house, and then take the security as your wages. Basically, if he's not paying you, if he is obligated to pay you those wages and he didn't do it, you can walk in and take what you want as payment. If you ever have that situation, make sure you ask a Shiloh first. Just that these are the essential laws. When it comes to, if you ever going to practice them, you make sure that you first discuss it with someone. Now, let's say what happens is that they made up that the wages will now be a debt, meaning he owes you wages for your work, and he didn't pay, and you made up it's a debt. Okay, pay me in this amount of time. That means you created it, you turned it into a debt. In that situation, also, once you do that, then you can't go back then you can't forcibly go into his house and take security. Now it's a debt. The Torah says you can't take the security yourself. You got to do it through the Beis Din. This applies in all times, at all places, at all times, both my men and my women. So just to clarify what we said before, we use the word owing money in a very loose form, but actually wages is one form, a debt is another form. And if I have to pay you wages, that's a form of obligation. It's not the same thing as a debt. It's not the same thing as a loan. And therefore, if the obligation of payment is wages, you can go and take it. Once you've made up with him that it's a debt, meaning you've made up with him, okay, you owe this to me. You'll pay me in X amount of time or whatever it is. You're not just walking over and taking a payment. You're basically you're turning into a debt. You turn into a debt by telling him, pay me. You'll pay me at a certain amount of time. You'll pay me in X amount of time. You'll pay me tomorrow. At the end of the day, if you're not collecting it, you're now saying, well, he can owe it to you. Well, you turn it into a debt. If it's turned into a debt, then you can't go and take it forcefully. Have a wonderful day.